Blog Talk Radio.
Paranormal Review Radio.
Hello and welcome, everyone. It is Friday night, and you are listening to Paranormal Review Radio with your hosts, Anthony Agati in New York.
And me, Luci Liebfried from Chicago. We are so happy that you're here with us tonight. Our chat room is up and running, so feel free to further discuss the topic or to ask a question. You can also call in with your questions to 661-244-9831. Make sure you press the number 1 button to get into the queue. And if you lose sound on your player, just refresh your page or log back in. You can also send us an email at paranormalreviewradio@yahoo.com. And don't forget to check us out on our Facebook show page.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing because every time Noah comes into the chat room, he makes such a grand entrance, and that comment that you just made, Noah, made me crack up. I'm sorry. Welcome, everyone, to the show tonight. This has been a long-awaited show, Lucy, correct?
Yes, it has.
We've been dying to talk about our investigation at Poasttown Elementary School. We've been actually reviewing evidence up until last night. Lucy was actually still doing some and actually found another piece of evidence last night. So we're happy to add one more to the pile. But But before we get into the mix of things, and before we start to talk about the trip, talk about the investigation, and share with you guys the evidence that we caught, I just wanted to bring up I guess a little funny story. I think, Lucy, you know where I'm going with this.
Oh, God.
For the last 6 months, well, I'm going to speak for myself. For the last 6 months, I have pretty much kept quiet, and I've been pretty much silent about this whole issue with Poasttown Elementary School with Aaron Houdini. And I have stayed out of it. I don't like drama. Lucy and I hate drama, and we pretty much stay out of it. And if you're not familiar with this whole drama, soap opera type of deal with Aaron Houdini and the place that we went to investigate, which is Poasttown Elementary School in Middletown, Ohio, there was an incident that happened about 6 months ago between Aaron, between Aaron and the owner of the location. And I don't know the whole full story. I think it is probably a waste of time even just to get into the whole thing. But apparently Aaron Houdini was bad-mouthing the location, the owners, people affiliated with it. It just got to be really disgusting. And Lucy and I stayed out of it. We actually were in communication with both sides, with Daryl and with Aaron. And it got to the point, I think it was back in January, that I had posted to Aaron, and I said to him that this is pretty much getting out of hand, all of these comments that he would post on his Facebook page in regards to nonsense issues or stories in regards to Daryl and other members affiliated with the school, and it just became a bashing segment, basically. And so I had told him, you know, if you've got an issue with anybody, take it up, either the legal action or take it up one-on-one. Either it's within a court or an arbitrator, whatever the issue is, take it up the right way. You know, stop the posting. It just makes you look bad. It just causes more controversy and more drama. And he appreciated it. Excuse me. He appreciated it. He didn't badmouth me or anything at that moment. and everything was fine. And I had not said anything after that incident, and then pretty much it sort of has dwindled down. I think there's a little pop-ups here and there, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lucy, that he still does make some comments here or there about the school or about Daryl or about other folks that are affiliated with it. But I just realized just early this week that Aaron Houdini had unfriended me on Facebook. Now, I could really care less if he does or not, but I'm putting two and two together, and I'm thinking, okay, because Lucy and I went to investigate the place, and because we were in communication with Daryl and met Daryl and Jay and Teresa, and posted comments basically about how gracious they were and how great the place was, and, you know, we never alluded anything to the fact of what we caught, or if we even caught anything. We never said anything to that fact. We may have alluded to it, but we've never said anything. And all of a sudden now he's pretty much unfriended me. So I just wanted to mention that and to say that it seems as though he has a personal, in my opinion, he has a personal vendetta against the school and against Daryl and, again, everybody else affiliated with it, because it goes against what he believes in. And I feel really sad for a person that gets that way, to the point that, you know, if you're not in your belief, then you're not on your side, and therefore he doesn't want to talk to you anymore. So I just want to officially say bon voyage to Aaron Houdini. It was fun knowing you for however long it was that we were friends on Facebook, and I hope you have a nice life. So with that said, I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Lucy.
Well, you know what, I do agree with you. You know, when all of this stuff started, you know, it was interesting, and then all of a sudden it started changing, and it has been the hardest thing to keep quiet. But like you said, we don't like drama. We don't get involved in any of the little squabbles that happen, you know, within the paranormal community. As far as we're concerned, you know what, we're searching for our own truth. We like to stay neutral. But this whole issue became so out of hand. And I will be honest, going to Poasttown, in the back of my mind, there were little bitty doubts when I got there. And I know I vocalized them to you, Anthony. But once we got there, and as you'll see during the evening, I was so convinced that everything that had happened to that point was just a bunch of crap. It really was. And, you know, for someone who claims that they are so enamored of the paranormal and you know, the claims that they make, it really just is very disappointing. It's very saddening to see someone who's so disillusional about who they are and what they are and what they've come in contact with. And you know what? I unfriended him a long time ago. I just didn't want to hear all of the mess that was going on. And when you told me this week that he had unfriended you, it just proved that the suspicions I had about the person were true. So, you know, good luck to him. I hope his career goes wherever he wants it to. But you know what? It's going to be without me following it.
Okay. I don't want to waste any more time on that subject. But I did just want to get it out there and put it on record, and that's it. So on to bigger and better and spookier things. You want to start off?
Well, yeah. You know what? We decided we went to Poasttown Elementary. It was on March 29th, 2 weeks ago. And we had been talking about places to go. And Anthony said, you know, why don't we go to Poasttown? And earlier we had never really thought about going here. But, you know, once the location was brought up, it was like, yeah, why don't we go? Now, for me, it's just a short 4-hour drive. But for Anthony, it's like a 12-hour drive to get there. So
it was. And, you know, and this location was the first time you've ever investigated a school. Yes. It's always been a prison, an insane asylum, you know, institutions like that, but we've never done a school, so this is the first, and that's what sort of intrigued me to begin with. Well,
I had no idea what to think about a school, and that that led us to our research because, when you think in terms of a school, you don't really think of it being haunted. And we decided to take it from square one, from the land to the location to things that happened in the area. So we did as much research as we could. I mean, the poor people in Middletown at the library and the Historical Society probably are very tired of me because I kept calling and tried to dig up as much as I could to find out what the land involved, not necessarily the school, but the land. There's a lot of information about things that happened in the area. Poasttown is directly by a train tracks. There's a couple stories that you hear when you read other people's accounts. And then even when we got to the location, before I go any further, I do want to say something. When we got to the location, Daryl, Jay, and Teresa are probably three of the most wonderful and delightful people I've ever met. The tour that they gave us and the information that they gave us was just absolutely fantastic. So we added that into all of the research that we had, and we went, I posted it today. We went in with open minds, and we left all of the negativity at the door, and we treated this investigation just like we do any other investigation. We go in, and we try to find the truth. We try to find that connection, and you know what? This location didn't disappoint us.
No. And just to touch back on what you were talking about as far as the research, a lot of the stories that we had heard that had happened at the location, at the school itself, were pretty much categorized as a legend or a folklore of some sort. And so in order to try and piece things together, and especially to help facilitate any investigation, you want to try and capture as much evidence and as much factual evidence that you can in regards to the stories. And so that was one of the things that Luci had tried to do when contacting the Historical Society in the library there in Ohio, to try and find out if any of the stories were true, if there was a death, if there was an issue or an incident that happened in the school, so that when we do go to the location, we can basically communicate based on the facts of what had happened, either it be whatever the incident was or the actual person's name. We want to make sure that we're calling the person correctly, and two, we want to be referring to whatever had happened to that person at that location in the correct manner so that it eases the spirit to be able to then communicate back with us so that they understand that we know what had gone on, and make them a little bit more comfortable so that they can communicate with us. And so that goes with the research that Luci was doing a lot of prior to going down there, and that's where we always love to stress getting the research done before you go, because it absolutely helps you 150% when you're on an investigation. And from what Luci did, it actually really helped us a tremendous amount.
I do want to say, when we got to this place, I'm going to talk a little bit about the location itself and the way the weather was. I mean, the location, it's a school. I mean, if you remember back to childhood, and you're going to elementary school, it was such a strange feeling walking into the building.
I know.
It seemed so huge, like you remember back to when you're little and how you had to go from classroom to classroom. And just when you walk into the building, it is a school. You are taken right back to every memory you have of going to school in your childhood, from the main stairway to the entranceway to the classrooms to the lockers. I mean, this location, which is absolutely beautifully kept up by Daryl, it's a school. I mean, it was, to me, it was a treat to be able to investigate this kind of location, because like you said, we haven't done a school. It's usually prisons and all those sorts of things. This was definitely a first for us. Like I said, the location, the way Daryl keeps that place up, it is absolutely wonderful. I mean, there's schools in Chicago, public schools in Chicago, that are not as kept as well as this location is.
And I mentioned that on the tour that actually the school looked like my public school when I went, and my elementary public school when I went to school back then. It looked exactly the same way as it did. I mean, it didn't look like it had. I'm trying to think of the word. It didn't seem like though we were going back in time to, when this school was open 10, 12, I think it was 13 years ago was when they actually closed it down. So it's actually in really good shape. And I think you were going to touch on the weather at Middletown, Ohio on March 29th. And I have that information just so that everybody, again, gets the feeling and the idea when we're talking about our location and the investigation itself. It was an average of about 50 degrees outside, and the wind was about, I think it was an average of 4.6 or 4.7 miles per hour. So it was very little wind to begin with. And again, I like to give that information out to people so it helps you understand when we're talking about pings and knocks and rattles and stuff like that may happen. You always have to consider what the weather is outside. And when an investigator talks about their evidence, they should always bring up what that weather was like outside, because that could help to sort of compensate for whatever the issues or the sounds or the noises that you may be hearing while on the investigation. So the wind was very low, and it was about 50 degrees outside, which was pretty much the same temperature inside the place. It had fluctuated a little bit below 50 degrees and then a little bit above 50 degrees. But it was pretty much around that point, and the wind was very, very minimal. I can vouch for that.
I will say that the school itself it's not heated in most of the areas, and at one point that probably felt like the coldest place I'd ever been in.
It really was. We could not wait to get back to the break room to warm up just for about 15 minutes because it got to be very chattery cold. And when we're going to play some audio stuff tonight, and you're gonna hear me sniffling a lot because of the coldness that was in some of the rooms there.
And actually, it was cold enough to see your breast, and that came into play in some in part of our experience. In
only certain areas of the school that had happened. So it was interesting to experience that. So, Luci, I want to start off by just because you are so sensitive when going into locations, what was your feeling like, or what were the experiences going through you or within you when you walked into the place, maybe during the tour or even after the tour when we started to do the live show and then the investigation? Was there anything that you were feeling or coming through to you? Was the place speaking to you?
As soon as I walked in the building, there was a sense of comfort. There was a sense of familiarity. There was a sense of, I know this place. This. I had no feelings of nothing negative whatsoever. Now, we've been to some places where you kind of get that little bit, I get that little tingle that I know that there's something there. But it didn't feel like a empty school to me, if you can understand. It was. It actually felt like it was an active school, that there were classes that were being used and that there were people there. Now, I didn't vocalize any of that during the tour, and as we went through the walkthrough, as you go through the different areas, we start off, there's a heated break room on the first floor, and thank God for that. And then we went down to the basement, and the basement is, the gym is like towards the first floor, and then there's the basement. We went into the gym, and it's your typical gym. I mean, it's well kept. The feelings that were in there, it was like I knew that there was something there. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Certain areas in the building, when you do go into them, like in the stairwell and a few other places, I was getting feelings of someone was there. But it was almost like this, they were kind of like hiding, or they were checking us out just as much as we were checking them out. I don't know, Anthony.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
was
how
that's
you felt?
yeah, that was exactly my point. I did feel as though I didn't feel a lot. I don't know if that was what you were trying to convey when you were first talking, that there were a lot of people in there. I did feel, and again, I don't admit that I'm a sensitive, but I do tend to get impressions a lot, and they pretty much are right on the money most of the time. And so when I'd walked into the location during the tour, and then of course during the rest of the night, I did get a sense that there were eyes watching. There were not a lot of, but there were in the areas that we were in each areas that we were in, it seemed as though that there were spirits around, but they did not want to be known. They didn't want to be seen. They were checking us out. And I had got that feeling at the very start, and I think I even said this to you, Lucy. I think it was maybe before we went on the air. That's what it felt like, and I'm thinking that is usually what happens in the very beginning of an investigation. It's just like, if you, if somebody were to walk into a room that you don't know, you're sort of eyeing them up and down and checking them out, and then you're sort of doing that voyeurism, seeing how they walk, how they talk, how they interact first, before you do anything, before you even go up to them and say hello. That is usually what happens to us when we go on an investigation, is that sense that they're just checking us out. And so I had thought that was going to be in the very beginning. But I kind of got that throughout the entire night, that I think even up until I think it was about 4:35 a.m. when we were pretty much almost wrapping up the investigation, that they may have started to, at that point, want to come out and want to communicate. And that's where we had a lot of interaction, was towards the end. And I think it took that long a period of time to get acclimated to Lucy and I. Normally, when we go into a location, it happens a lot quicker than that. And I'm not sure why it was that way there now. Maybe it was because, and I'm just talking off the cuff right now, Lucy, maybe it was because you sort of had that slight trepidation or that slight skeptical view in your mind when you first got there.
It could.
Do you think?
It could be. And as a rule, I usually don't have that, but I really do. I want to say that it was very hard not to have that after all of the things that had been going on.
Right. Right.
And the fact is that, we didn't know the place. We didn't know anybody there. And for anybody who's listening, we had no prior connections to anyone at Poasttown. Nothing.
Right.
I had been communicating with Daryl through Facebook, setting up the investigation and everything like that. But other than that, there were no connections whatsoever. So when we went in, it truly was as a visitor. It truly was as a stranger to the location. So I do agree with you. I do now, after the fact, I am convinced that they were checking us out. And the other part is because it's a school. It is a different location than what we're used to. And the other locations that we are, we get connections a lot faster. But I think in this case, it was a school. So here you have two people that are coming in. We're not in a group. I know they have a lot of group investigations that are there. And I'm sure that whoever is there is used to, like, Gerald and Teresa and Jay. But here you have two strangers, and it's just the two of us. They definitely were checking us out, trying to see what we were about, trying to see what we were.
The other thing that I just want to add to in the point that I was trying to make in regards to the feeling that I got in the school, I also felt as though that there were a lot of different personalities in the school. And I'm not sure if Daryl and Jay and Teresa will agree with me or not, but I feel as though that there are, first of all, age ranges, I think, range from a little child to probably maybe someone within their 60s or 70s. I just think that there is just a wide range of spirits in that location, that they could also be sort of shying away from each other and sort of staying in their own, for lack of a better word, worlds, and in the location itself, because they want to be sort of private. They're living in their own time frame as well. And so I think that, as well as us coming in there as a quote-unquote intruder that they felt could have been what they were feeling, it sort of added to the mix as well. And so it sort of kept everyone, at pace, at arm's length, so that the security for them was, they felt more secure. They were feeling as though that nobody was in their space, as well as within the spirit world and within the living world. And so that may have contributed to as well. I could be completely wrong, but that's just the feeling that I got when we were there. And during the remainder of the night, I kind of got that feeling that there was just so many different areas, so many different worlds and people that could be, and that could have been a contribution to the fact that it was sort of difficult to get that communication or to get them to come out and talk to us. But we didn't have a lot of difficulty, I can mind you that. And I will say, I honestly will say that, and I'll say right off the bat right now, I do think that Poasttown Elementary School has something there. I really do think that the place has spirits, is haunted. I'm not sure to what level. Again, to what Luci was saying, I don't think that there's anything negative there at all. I think, just as what I was saying, that there's just this whole slew from all different time periods of people in there that, that are residing at the location because they're calling it their home. And there's nothing negative at all, but I do believe 100% with everything that we've experienced, Luci and I have experienced, and the evidence that we've caught, I can guarantee you that this place is haunted.
Well, to expand, I agree with you 100%. I know it's haunted. I'll come out and I'll say it just like that. It is definitely haunted. But to expand on what you were saying, after the fact, after being there, I have this feeling that because the atmosphere is so safe and so welcoming, it's kind of like a way station for the different kinds of spirits that may be in the area. I think it's a safe haven for different types of spirits from different periods, just like you said. And it really is that feeling of being safe. So I believe that has a lot to do with the variety of connections that are there. And as you listen to as we go through our evidence, you're going to see we didn't just connect with one type of spirit. It was definitely, whatever we were connecting with, there were definitely different kinds of things that were going on there. But to not to ramble on, I'm going to say it one more time. I truly believe that Poasttown is haunted.
Yeah, and I also believe that there is residual and intelligent forms of spirits in there. I believe that we've experienced both parts, and I believe Daryl is in the chat room right now. And so, Daryl, I just want to let you know that coming up later on as we go through the evidence, if you remember the conversation that we had, Daryl, you and I, in one of the classrooms on the second floor, and you had talked about, honestly, I can't remember the beginning part of it, but the exchange was the fact that the spirits were giving you things, or that there was, I don't know if it was actual objects or if it was a mental note from the spirits, sort of giving you things. And I had given you the conversation, or I had given you the story about Sharon Coyle, who we're friends with, of Rolling Hills Asylum, and how the closeness that she has with the spirits at Rolling Hills Asylum, and how they feel for her and they protect her because they feel as though that they respect her enough because that she is taking care of that location. And I had said to you, Daryl, that they are probably doing the same thing to you. It probably correlates to that same fashion, that they are respecting you and that they are attracted to you because you are keeping their home alive. You are keeping their place of residence up and running so that they can continue to be there. And I want to tell you this, that we actually have a message for you from them. We actually caught it on audio, and we're going to play it a little bit later. So I just want to say that because it corroborates our conversation, and it corroborates my story that I was telling you about. So you are doing good, Daryl, and they have a message for you, and I'll leave it at that, and we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Daryl, you truly are the caretaker. You really are.
All right. So, where do you want to go to next? Do you want to talk about the location itself?
Yeah. Do
you want to go through the night?
Yeah. Let's talk about the walkthrough. When we got there, Daryl and Jay welcomed us to the school. Gave us a little background about the school and the history. And Daryl has some he has a lot of documentation on site that you can look at when you get there, and you kind of get an idea. I believe there's a book that a former teacher wrote, and there's also some pictures of people that have gone to the school. But there's a lot of information that you can gather once you get there. So we got there. Teresa came along, and she is so wonderful. She basically gave us a majority of the information that we got on the walkthrough. And Teresa's knowledge of this location is absolutely amazing. She along with Jay and Daryl, did give us a lot of information about experiences that people have had while they're there. So we started off, I believe the first place we actually went to was the gym. And like I said, in the gym, it's your typical school gym. It's slightly below ground, and on one wall, the big thing in this gym is a painting. It is a painting of a school mascot, and it's an Indian brave, kind of cartoonish, but it's up on the wall. Now, the interesting thing about this painting that's on the wall, when you look at it, it looks like it was painted yesterday. And I believe the story is that one of the janitors that was there at the school had painted it. The wall around it, the rest of the wall, obviously shows signs of wear, age. But the painting itself, it is just amazing. And if you've seen the pictures that we posted from the trip, this painting looks truly fresh. It looks like it was painted yesterday. So we went into the gym. We took a look at that. From there, we went around the corner, and there is a stairwell. Now, this stairwell plays a part in one of the stories, one of the legends that is told about the school, where supposedly there is a little girl that had fallen down the stairs and, as a result, lost her life. Well, in the research, what we were going back, and part of the research that we got from the school, there is a child that did go to the school, and she did fall at home, and she bumped her head. And because of that, I guess she died at a later time. Now, whether or not she actually fell in the school or not is really not substantiated. But the amazing thing about the stairwell has reports of activity where you can hear a child screaming. The scream can be heard in different areas of the school, but it's basically in this stairway. And the stairwell is absolutely, it's amazing. I mean, when you go in there, there's definitely a feeling of something. The view from the bottom of the stairway is definitely different from the top. When you look down from the top of the stairwell, it's almost like it's way farther than it actually is. And there's only 2 floors to the school. But when you're at the top of the stairs and you look down over the railing, it just seems so far. So that was the area that we went to. We've got something from that stairwell. We moved on to the basement area where there actually is a well, which is underneath the school. And when you go into this hallway, there is like a metal covering over the well. But it was really interesting because as people, know that a lot of times when there's water is a good conductor for activity. Well, there's a well underneath the school. There is the old cafeteria where, lunches were served, reports of activity in there. There is another room that is it's called the dry goods storeroom, which also has a lot of reports of activity. From there, you go back and a little bit further. There is this wonderful little room that when you look at it, when you first look at it, when you first walk into it, it's bright and it's sunny, and there's tables in there. It absolutely reminds you of a McDonald's dining room. And you go in here, and here's this bright and sunny room. And from what Teresa and Jay and Daryl shared with us, this is kind of like the place where, you know, people go, and when they want to sit down and, you know, just chat, this is the room where they go. Now, keep in mind, too, there's also reports of activity which is in this dry goods room. From there, we go back to an area which, unfortunately, we really didn't get a chance to investigate, and it's where the furnace is located. Now, there are some stories that have to do with the janitor, one of the janitors, who perished in a fire in his home. Now, the janitor that perished really had a good relationship with the school. He enjoyed his job. He enjoyed working with the kids. Now, there have been reports of activity where very possibly the janitor has returned to the one spot where he felt comfortable, the one spot where he enjoys, and he's been seen in the area. There are some reports, there's some evidence that very possibly could be this janitor. I believe he's there because I believe we connected with him, and you're going to see how we connected with him. From there, we go to, from there we go to, oh, God, where else did we go after that? Then we went up to the second floor. Second floor, you have all the classrooms, okay? You've got a long hallway that has a lot of information, a lot of activity. There's shadow figures that are reported that are seen here. You go from the different classrooms from side to side. Each one of these classrooms almost has an individual feel. When you're walking through each one, it's definitely different. From there, we get to what's called the main teacher's room. Now, when I walked into this room definitely has a different feel. This room is the room that we chose to do our live show from. And it is just a typical classroom, but it's got the chairs, it's got a teacher's desk. There's definitely a different feel to that. From there, I don't know, what am I forgetting? We've got the main teacher's classroom. And, I have to mention the one thing. At the top of the main stairs is an area which is called the vortex, okay? When you get in this area, there is definitely a change in energy, okay? When I walked through this place, immediately I felt dizzy. I felt dizzy every time I walked through this place. In fact, I even got, I felt like twinges of pain in my back. Daryl and Teresa and Jay didn't tell me anything about this spot before I walked into it. The minute I walked into it, I certainly noticed that there was something different about it. So that was interesting. So as we went through this location, again, you're getting the feeling it's just a typical school. And from there, we gathered all the information. We got everything from Teresa. We got everything from Jay and Daryl. And we set up in the main teacher's room, and we just started the live show.
While you were talking, Luci, what I had done was posted 2 videos on our Paranormal Review Radio Facebook show page. And I just wanted to go through that, through those 2 very briefly, and you guys can watch it at your leisure whenever you want. You can watch it now, or you can watch it after the show. But I just wanted to go through them very quickly. There's 2 pieces of video evidence that we captured. One, Luci, do you want to talk about your orb one?
Mm-hmm. Okay, one of them, which is, it's a white anomaly. This is taken in the dry goods storeroom, which is in the basement. And again, it's the location that is right across by that underground well. And we're in there, and I'm just taking film of the room, panning back and forth. Well, I didn't see it at the time, but after I went back to review the tape, there is definitely a white light that moves, and then all of a sudden it stops, and then it comes back. Now, everyone talks about, there's dust, there's different things that could be in the air. This definitely is not dust, because this is a deliberate movement. We had placed a glow stick ring on the floor, and we had placed a flashlight on the floor, hoping that maybe we could get, some activity with the flashlight. Well, this anomaly comes out, and it's almost as if it's checking out the things that we had put down. It stops for just a brief moment, and then it returns. Very deliberate movement. So when you're watching it, keep in mind, watch the path of the light. It definitely is deliberate.
You know me and my situation with orbs and orb anomalies. I tend to be a little bit skeptical about those things. But the video piece that Luci had caught actually caught my attention simply because it moves from the bottom right area. It moves up towards what Luci was talking about the neon ring and the flashlight area. It moves up, and it's a pretty big, bright orb. Again, it did not emit this light with our own eyes. We did not see that light. It only came on the video camera, which has the IR light on it. So again, I can't be sure whether or not it was a reflection of something. It could have been a bug. It could have been anything. But the only reason why I'm questioning it is because it moved up. It seemed to stop midway, completely stopped. It didn't just hover and slide or anything like that. It stopped and then came back down the same direction it came up from. And so that to me was a question mark. I don't know whether or not it is a spirit form or anything else or even a bug. I don't know what it is, but it is something to look at. And you guys can comment on it and make your own opinions from it. But that's what I believe. That's what I got from it when Luci had showed that to me.
Well, I don't think it was a bug because it was definitely too cold for any bugs, and there really wasn't any. I didn't see any evidence of any kind of insects or anything in that location.
Okay. So check out that video. It's on our Facebook show page. The second video is a piece that we got from the janitor's room. Now, this one I particularly love.
This one is the first.
Yes, and this is a first for us. This has never happened to us on an investigation. So kudos to Poasttown for giving this to us. We were in the janitor's room, and this was towards the end of our investigation. And like I was talking about before, that this could have been the time when they were starting to feel a little bit more mellow, feel a little bit more relaxed in communicating with us. And from the research that Luci had done, we had found out about one particular janitor, and I won't mention the name, but we found out about one particular janitor who had passed away at his home. And he was a beloved janitor of this place. He loved the place, and the kids and the faculty loved him as well. And when we were doing the research on him, we found out that he was a Vietnam War veteran. And in knowing that, in understanding that piece of information, what we wanted to do was try and connect even more, not just the actual verbal communication. So we brought along a couple of songs that we know were pretty much popular with Vietnam vet soldiers who were overseas, who you probably will remember these songs being played in so many movies, Apocalypse Now, and all these other movies that have been that has portrayed the Vietnam War and the soldiers and the stories. These are pretty much the songs that are, I think, embedded in my mind. Whenever you hear them, you think of that scenario. And so what we wanted to do was try and play this music to try again to get sort of a relaxing, comforting moment with this particular spirit to see if we can actually get a communication. And so what we had done was in the janitor's room, we put out a flashlight and a couple of digital audio recorders, and I had my Kindle with me playing the music. And you'll see me filming the section, the middle part of the janitor's room, and I don't realize it until it's sort of, I think, maybe midway through the song. And the song is Reflections by Diana Ross and the Supremes. And I didn't realize it until midway when Luci mentioned that the flashlight was actually dimming and brightening to the music as well as the voice from the music, which is Diana Ross's singing voice. And so you'll see me with the camera with the IR light on it, and so you really can't see the flashlight going on and off with it. So what I had done was I shut off my IR lights and I played it as normal video. So you will actually be able to see the flashlight going up and down, getting lower, dimmer and brighter to the music and to the voice, to the singing voice on it for pretty much almost the entire song. I thought that was amazing. It's not as though it's one of those where you ask a question and it turns it on and then you ask it to shut it off. This thing kept going on and on and on for a few minutes, and it was going to the beat of the music.
It was actually going during the length of the song. Now, remember, the thinking behind this was we had seen some previous investigations, videos, and I believe there was a live video from the school. And in this particular room, a lot of people have reported that they have heard a voice saying, "Get out,"
right.
Getting a negative feeling. So what we wanted to do was find a way to actually make whoever's there feel comfortable. And we thought, what better way than to play music that they probably were familiar to. And while the song is playing, we're sitting there, and I'm looking at this, and as the music's going, this light starts pulsing, which I thought, okay, that's cool. But I noticed it's pulsing in beat with the music. I've never seen anything like this. Honestly, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was pleasurable. It was fun. It was like, to me, it lightened the whole mood immediately. And I think it did because of some of the EVPs that we got right afterwards.
Right. And I think it's sort of a validation that is an intelligent form. It's an intelligent spirit because it's interacting in a way from the spirit world into the living world. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Take a look at it. Again, comment as you wish. You can believe it or not believe it. I'm not saying it is pure evidence, but I'm just saying it is very different, and it is something that I've never experienced, and it's something to just hold on to that could possibly mean something. If not now, could mean something later on. All right, so why don't we get into what everybody is actually here for? Everybody wants to hear the evidence, right?
I know,
right.
I do.
All right, I just want to check to see if you're not sleeping over there.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And
all right.
I have my shoes on.
Okay, and you have your shoes on. Good. Okay, so another point that I'd like to mention to everybody is even on a tour, you should always carry around your digital audio recorder and cameras because things can happen at any time, day or night, whether you are in full investigation mode or not, things will happen. And so we actually caught 2 EVPs during the tour. So, Luci, do you want to talk about the first one?
Okay, this first one is only 6 seconds long. But this happened during the tour. We were in the dry goods room, and Daryl and Teresa were explaining how, some people have reported feeling a cat. Now, there are no cats in this location. One person even reported sitting in a chair and feeling a cat jump onto their lap. Well, while we're in the dry goods room, they're explaining this. We moved on to the cafeteria, but when you're listening to the recorder, as Teresa is explaining about the setup of the cafeteria where the break room is, there is the sound of a cat meowing. And I know for a fact I didn't see a cat. Anthony, I know you didn't.
No,
Teresa,
the walls are cinder block walls. It's not as though that they are sheetrock where you'd have some hollowness behind it that animals or intruders like that can get in. These are solid walls, so there's no way, and ceilings are exposed, so you can see everything pretty much. There was no cat at all, and if I would have heard a cat, I would have reacted because I'm sort of allergic to them.
I'm deathly allergic to cats. I would have known if there was a cat in the area.
All right, so I'm going to play this first audio clip. Now, do you want me to reveal the number of audio clips we have? I didn't even mention that, Lucy.
Yeah, no, let go ahead. Tell everybody.
All right, before I go any further, I just want to let everybody know we have 13 pieces of EVP evidence. 13 pieces. One of which, I think that's almost the most that we've ever had. One of which, though, is just an example to give you of the door slamming that we had heard throughout the night. And the remaining 12 are actual EVPs that we caught. So buckle up because we've got a long night ahead of us, all righty? Okay, so the first one is the cat meow. Now, you're going to hear some talking. You're going to hear, I think it's Teresa in the background, like you were saying, and I think there's some laughter in there as well, and I think you say okay, the word okay. This, again, is just during the tour, and in the interaction with Jane, Daryl, and Teresa and us in talking about the stories and about the place and about the rooms itself. So I'm going to play them, all of these EVPs I'm going to play a few times. So take a listen. Here's the first time I'm going to play it for you.
Where they would actually sit and eat lunch.
All right, did you guys hear it? I'm going to play it one more time. It's sort of in the middle of this EVP, so maybe 3 or 4 seconds into it. Listen again.
Where they would actually sit and eat lunch.
All right, I'm going to play it one more time.
Where they would actually sit and eat lunch.
Okay.
That sounds like a cat to me.
That's a cat, and there was no cat around there. Otherwise, I would have been sniffling, and my eyes would have been burning like anything. So I can vouch for that. All right, so let's get into the second EVP that we caught during the tour. Now, this is still during the tour. Do you want to talk about this one, Lucy?
Now, well, again, this again was in the Dragon's Room, which Teresa had told us that is a very, very active place. Now, we had asked about, names of spirits, it had, if any names had ever come through. Teresa is giving us the list of names that she has had reports of. And while she's going through the list of names, she then talks about Sarah. Now, Sarah is the name that they've given this child that they hear in the building. And she has been known to scream. They think that she is possibly the one that may have fallen from the stairs. Now, while Teresa is talking about Sarah, and I believe at this point, Teresa had just mentioned that Sarah is very partial to females, that she likes women. You will be able to hear what sounds like a child's cry. And it's right at that point where Teresa is just mentioned how much Sarah loves women.
Now, before we play this, though, Lucy, this is one of the EVPs that I think you and I haven't mentioned this to you, that you and I actually may have a difference of what actually is being heard. I still think, because we're still in the same area, I still think that this may be that cat. And if people know cats or have cats as pets or have heard them in and around their neighborhood, cats, when they cry, sort of sound like babies crying. And so I'm not sure if it is a child's cry or if it is a cat, but it is definitely something that you hear within this. And I think this is the one where there is some laughter. I'm sorry, I thought that was the other one, but I believe this is the one where there's some laughter, and it's right before, I think, Lucy, you say okay. So again, I'm going to play this a few times. So here we go. I'm going to play it the first time right now.
Those women.
Here we go, discussing that again.
She'll come up to women.
Oh, we should say that.
Okay, I'm going to play it again.
Those women.
Here we go, discussing that again.
She'll come up to women.
Oh, we should say that.
It's sort of like a weird cry, meow mix to me.
It could be. It could be a cat. Now that I'm listening to it, but it definitely is something.
All right, I'm going to play it one more time.
Those women.
Here we go, discussing that again.
She'll come up to women.
Oh, we should say that.
All right, so I guess I'll just leave it up to interpretation. I'm not sure what it is. It could be anything, but to me, it sounds more like a cat's, not full meow, but a cat's cry.
See, my first thinking when I heard it was the cry, only because of the conversation that Teresa, the information Teresa get us about Sarah being partial to women, and in my mind, the first thing that popped into my mind was that she was trying to get our attention.
Right. I mean, it could be. Like I said, whenever you hear cats crying out, I don't know if it's in heat or whatever, but I remember always hearing that in my old house, that it sounds like there was a baby in my backyard crying. So that's what that's what it could be, or it could be a cat itself.
Mhm.
All right, let's move on because we got a lot to talk about. Let's move on to the second floor hallway, and this is the one piece of audio that I was talking about that is of the door slamming. You'll hear in this piece of audio clip what sounds like a door slamming twice. Now, we were in the second floor hallway. This is outside of Mrs. Johnson's classroom, the main room, and this is the same area where we were live on the air during the investigation 2 weeks ago. So we were closer towards Mrs. Johnson's classroom door, and what I was talking about in the very beginning of this clip was what I thought was a woman moaning, but I did not catch that on audio clip. And so I was referring to Luci to ask if she had heard that, and I was repeating that moaning noise to see if she had heard that same thing. And after that, you're going to hear the door slam, and it slams as though it's slamming twice. It's not slamming once, it's like slamming it twice. I'm going to play it for you for the first time here.
You didn't just hear like, oh.
No, that's the door.
All right, this one I'm just going to play one more time.
You didn't just hear like, oh.
No, that's the door.
Now, we were hearing that through the entire night. We heard noises like that. We also had been warned by Daryl, and this is what was good about Daryl and Jay and Teresa, that during the tour, they had told us some things to be sort of mindful of. Like in the dry goods room, there's a mirror on the wall, and so if you're taking a picture, try not to take it in that direction because the flash from the camera may glare off of that mirror, distort the image, and you may think it's something, something of the dead, but is really not. It's just a reflection from the mirror. And so he would point out these things everywhere we went. And he would also mainly tell us about the boiler in the building, that you'll hear that kick in sometimes. or you'll hear these certain noises within the hallway or within this room, and he would tell us what they were, and so not to think that it is a spirit doing that or whatever. So those noises we knew about, but there were other particular noises that they did point out during the tour, like the call button, the intercom button in Mrs. Johnson's classroom, and doors closing and such, and so on and so forth. Now, I remember Daryl did tell us about the bathroom door, and to be mindful of that one because of the I don't know if it's the spring or something on that.
The hydraulic.
The hydraulic part of it, that if you pull it open very quickly and then close it very quickly, it doesn't actually close the door all the way where it locks and it goes through. That probably 30 seconds later, it'll slam close. Now, we knew about that one. This door was not that door because we had not used the bathroom upstairs. We had actually used the bathroom downstairs. So we knew that that wasn't the door. This was something else within that area or within that location.
Mhm. And actually, the door that Jay was talking about, I was in the bathroom towards the end of the night, and I heard it. And even though you do know, and he told me about it, it still is kind of freaky, but you have to kind of remember, okay, it's the door closing. It was me. It's not anything that's happening that you can't explain.
Okay, so still staying on the second floor in that hallway area, Luci and I, Luci, you had conducted a spirit box session, and you can talk about that in a little bit. But we had conducted a spirit box session. We were reaching out to the students pretty much at this time. We were trying to call out to the younger children, if there were any, in the area. And I had asked in this next audio clip, I had asked if there was anything that we could do for them, if we can help them. And you're going to hear me, I can't remember if it was, do you need any help or do you want to help you? I can't remember exactly what the words were. But right at the end of what I say, at the very end of the sentence that I say, you're going to hear a voice, very low, very faint, but it says, and what I'm gathering, what it says is, nice try. So try and listen to it. This one I'm going to play a few times. Let me see if I can pull it up, find it first. Here we go. So it happens right at the end of when I say the sentence, do you need any help or do you want us to help you? You're going to hear it right at the end of it. Here we go.
Can we help you?
All right, I'm going to play it one more time. I say, can we help you? And you hear it right at the end of when I say you.
Can we help you?
And I'll play it one more time.
Can we help you?
It's very faint. I hope you guys can hear it. We are actually going to post these on our Facebook page. We're going to put it into a video form so that you'll be able to actually hear it again and rewind it at your own pace to listen to it if you'd like to. Luci, do you have anything you want to say on this one?
No, I mean, it definitely was there. That second floor hallway is the one that they refer to as Sarah's hallway. And and just keep in mind, these are just the main ones that we found. There's a lot of other noises and sounds that we have on tape, but you just really can't identify what they are. So these two recordings are definitely the stronger ones that we got.
Oh, no, these aren't the strongest ones.
Oh, no, well, on the second floor.
Oh, well, yeah, on the second floor. All right, you want to talk about the next two?
Yes. Now, these two, this is in the gymnasium, and we've got two recordings from the gymnasium, and I want to say these are absolutely amazing to me, probably some of the best EVPs that we've ever taken, in my opinion. Now, this first one is a voice, and I was sitting on the stage, and Anthony was over in the middle of the gym, and we started doing our EVP session, and in the middle of the session, we hear a voice, and it sounds like it's coming from the entrance of the gym. Now, Anthony walks over to check it out, but, of course, there's no one there. Now, you definitely can hear a male voice. It's really not clear. We can't make out what they're saying, but there's definitely a voice, and it's not Anthony, and it's not me.
And I think you're going to hear, I think, Luci, you say something. I think you ask a question. There's some silence, and then you're going to hear a male voice in the very far background, and then you're going to hear, and we actually heard this with our own ears. And I had turned to Luci, and I said, did you just hear that? And I tried to mimic the voice again. So you're going to hear me sort of mimic the voice again at the very end. Again, I'm going to play these a few times. It's actually best if you guys have headphones, if you want to listen to it live as we're doing this right now. Headphones work the best to actually hear on Blog Talk Radio. It's very difficult to transfer audio on Blog Talk and be able to hear it. That's why, again, we're going to put this on our Facebook show page. So here we go. I'm going to play this again. You're going to hear a distant male voice in the background. We don't know what it's saying, and it sounds as though it's almost like a sentence, but I'll let you guys figure it out.
Why are you here? Yeah, what was that?
Did you guys hear that? I repeated it at the end, so here we go. I'm going to play it again.
Why are you here? Yeah, what was that?
I'm going to play it one more time.
Why are you here? Yeah, what was that?
It almost even makes an echo noise, right, Luci?
I was just going to say that. That's what's so amazing about this thing, is because when you hear it, it definitely has that echo, like it's coming from inside the gym.
Right. But it was coming from the direction of the entrance of the gym itself. And so, again, I always have the skeptical view of things. I ran over to the door to see if there was anybody there or if I even saw a spirit, actually, but there wasn't anybody there at all.
The next one is absolutely amazing. Now, at this point, it's starting to get cold. I mean, it was so cold. And we decided that we were going to move on. So we made a comment about how cold it was in the gym. Anthony, you had just said, oh, you can even see your breath right now. And I responded, yeah, it's cold. Well, we get a voice, and the voice is definitely saying your breath. It's almost as if the voice was mimicking what Anthony had said. And when you hear this, it's clear. It's definitely clear.
All right, I'm going to play it for you. There's, again, little conversation between Luci and I. We say, I think you say how cold it is, and I say you can even see your breath. You're going to hear the voice, and Luci, you hear it first because then you shush me.
No, you shushed me.
No. You said you shush me first, and then we wait a little bit. We don't hear anything, and what I think I hear something else, then I shush you again. So here we go. I'm going to play this again a few times. Here's the first time.
Yeah, it's freezing. I heard the voice again.
All right, I'm going to play it one more time. It's right before Luci makes that shh sound.
Yeah, it's freezing. heard their voices.
I can actually pinpoint it even more for you guys after I'm going to play it one more time for you. There's a little bit of a banging noise, and that's me actually getting my gear together from the gym. And right after that little bang noise, you're going to hear your breath. Here we go.
Yeah. It's freezing. I heard their voices.
Okay. I hope you guys heard that one.
That was amazing to me because in this gymnasium, we were hearing these things without, we were hearing them. We were hearing them with our naked ears. It was truly amazing. I mean, when I played the tape back and I heard it, it was like, whoa, this is awesome.
Okay, so we move, and that's, again, that's us getting ready to move from the gym into the stairwell, which is the next area, the next location that you go into. And the stairwell area is actually, I think, one of the best experiences that I've had in doing investigations. I love hearing disembodied voices. I love that more so than EVPs, because it's at the moment. It's right there. It's communicating with me personally. I love that. And so there's 3 EVPs that we caught in the stairwell area. And the first one, Luci, this one I'm not sure of.
Okay.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
This one is what we've labeled as a growl, okay? We were in the stairwell, and Luci was at the bottom of the stairs. There's, I think, 1, 2, 3, I think there's 4 landings in this stairwell, and we were down on the first stairs. So we were down at ground level where the gym is. Luci was at the foot of the stairs, and I was on the first landing area. And we had equipment in between us. We had a flashlight. I think we had the neon necklace. And I had my recorder to the right of me. There was a chair there, right there on that landing. I put it on there. And I had another audio recorder on me as well. And we were, again, trying to get communication in the space. And as you know, if you are an investigator, as you know, that prior to an investigation, you go to eat, right? Then you go on the investigation itself, and hopefully whatever meal you had before sustains you throughout. Now, I don't know, and you'll hear me react to this, that it sounded as though it was Luci growling, and I'm saying it as though it's factual. And Luci is correcting me and saying that, no, it was not her, that it was actually coming from my direction. And I then corrected her, and I said, no, it's actually coming from your direction. I know I didn't growl. If Luci says she didn't growl, I believe her. And so I don't know what this is. Do you want to comment before I play it?
Yeah, if you've listened to our investigations, I know when my stomach is growling. And at this point, I heard it, and I honestly heard it coming from above me. The fact that Anthony heard it coming from my area was really, it gave me reason to think, okay, there's something definitely here. I can't tell really what it is, but one of the things that it sounds like there are some voices in the background, so you really need to listen to it.
Yeah, which didn't translate that well putting it on here. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, if you get a chance to listen to this with headphones, there's definitely something that's not either me or Anthony in this clip. So give it a listen and see if you can hear it.
For the record, though, because I want to be fair, for the record, though, it sounds like a stomach growl, and I'm not going to argue with anybody who says that it does sound like that, because I believe it. It does sound like a stomach growl. But if it's not coming from me and it's not coming from Luci, I don't know what to say to it. So again, I'm going to play it, and you guys can make your own comments.
Do you know what our names are? That's Lucy's stomach. That wasn't your stomach.
No,
That sounded like a growl, like a stomach growl.
that wasn't me. That was coming from you up there.
No, it was coming down there.
Again, when we do an EVP session, I'm sure everybody knows this, that whenever there is outside noises, either it's a car that you hear, a dog barking, even down to a fart, you pretty much mark it on your audio recorder and you say it out loud so that when you go back to review, you don't mistake it for anything other than what it actually really is. And so that's what I was doing there. I was saying that's a stomach growl from Luci, but then you corrected me, Luci.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right,
No,
go ahead.
my stomach wasn't growling.
All right, I'm just going to play it one more time.
Do you know what our names are? That's Lucy's stomach. That wasn't your stomach.
No,
That sounded like a growl, like a stomach growl.
that wasn't me. That was coming from you up there.
No, it was coming down there.
All right, so we'll leave it at that. It's some sort of growl noise. I know it's not from me, and Luci knows it's not from her. We just don't know what it is. All right, let's move on to the second of the 3 EVPs that we caught in the stairwell area. Now, this second one is my favorite, Luci.
I know it is. This one is absolutely amazing. And the thing that makes it so amazing is that Anthony actually heard it with his own ears. We're in the stairway, and this is when we are, Anthony's on that second landing, and he's walking up there, and I'm still down at the bottom of the steps. Anthony hears a little girl, and she says, "Want to play?" You got to hear this.
This was when we had first walked into the stairwell area. Lucy's behind me, and I'm walking up the steps onto that first landing area. And I hear a little voice with my own ears say, "Want to play?" And you'll hear me sort of, I think I shushed you again. And I couldn't believe that I had heard this. So I was amazed, and I said, oh my God, I hope I got this on the recorder. So let me find it here. Sorry, there's just so many on here. I got to find, here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to play this. It says, "Want to play." You're going to hear a very faint little girl say it.
What were we doing here?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hope I got that. I swear to God, I heard a girl that says, "You want to play?"
All right, I'm going to play it again.
What were we doing here?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hope I got that. I swear to God, I heard a girl that says, "You want to play?"
All right, I'm going to play it one more time.
What were we doing here?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hope I got that. I swear to God, I heard a girl that says, "You want to play?"
I love that that piece, only because I heard it with my own ears. It sounded like a little girl. It sounded like a fun little girl, and it exactly goes with the story that other groups have said of what goes on in that stairwell area, and what Jay, Teresa, and Daryl had talked about the girl who had fallen there. I hate to think that was that same girl that's still there, but in any case, I'm glad I was able to catch it. I was glad I was able to actually hear it with my own ears, because then it helped fuel the communication when we were going on with the investigation there. So that was really cool. I really loved that.
Mhm. Well, this next one, we're still in the stairway area, and there's a beeping noise. And at the time, Anthony, you didn't realize that your digital recorder had stopped. You asked me what was the beeping noise, and I look at both my recorders because I had two of them going. I had the one on my arm, and I had one on the stairway. And I look at both of them, and I says, no, this one's still going. This one's still going. After I say the second one is still going, you can hear a female voice say, yes.
Yeah, it's right after you hear the beep, which again is my recorder, my audio recorder dying on me, which I didn't realize. But right after that beep noise, you hear yes. I'm going to play this for you right now.
What's that noise?
Okay, I'm sorry. You hear the beep, and then again you hear me sniffling because it was very cold. So it is right after you hear me sniffle. I'm going to play this the second time.
What's that noise?
One more time.
What's that noise?
It sounds more like a female voice than a child's voice to me. And again, I don't know if you guys were able to hear that, but again, we're going to put this on our Facebook show page so that you can actually listen to it at your leisure.
Okay, next one. This one we got a name, and the name that came through was either Martin or Marvin. And this weekend, Teresa, if you remember, that's why I was asking you if the name Marion or Martin or anything had come through. And we had just finished doing the session in the janitor's room, and Anthony had just finished asking, questions. And I said, you know what, I wish I knew your name so that I could properly thank you. And then the EVP comes through, and the name, we can't really clearly make it out, but it sounds either like Marvin or Martin.
Oh, look at that. AGH Augusta Ghost Hunter says that we have an EVP Martin. We got the
There you go.
I think it is Martin, and I know, Teresa, you had said Marion. I believe you had said Marion to Luci was the name that had come through. I hear a really hard T in the middle of this, and that's why I think it's Martin. At one point I was thinking it was Marvin, but I really am leaning towards Martin. So here we go. I'm going to play this. Where is it? Sorry, guys. Here we go. Okay, this one's 16 seconds long. I don't remember at what point it comes into, but I'm pretty sure you can hear this because I think there's a long silence period before it. Here we go.
I wish I knew your name so I could thank you properly.
It was right there at the very end, or maybe this is 16 seconds long, this clip. It's probably about 13 or 14 seconds long into it. Here we go.
I wish I knew your name so I could thank you properly.
Play it one more time.
I wish I knew your name so I could thank you properly.
Sounds like a very quick Martin. Martin.
Yeah, you can hear the T.
Yeah.
You can hear the T in that. So, I want to take this moment right now. Thank you, Martin.
Yes. Thank you, Martin. Okay. This next EVP, and Daryl, are you awake? Are you still listening? This was the EVP that I was talking about earlier. Again, we're still in the janitor's room, and I like to do this all the time. I like to, if we know the owners by name, what we'd like to do when we go into a location is, especially if the owners are very close to the location, if, either they live within proximity or live within the location, we always like to refer to the names of the owners to the other side and see if there's any sort of message or anything that they want to say to them, because again, that gives a validation of intelligence, and it acknowledges the owner, the caretaker, as Daryl is, to the location. So what I had done was I was asking, and I had asked also too about Brenda, about Teresa, and about Jay, and if there was any messages. And so I'm not sure if this is in particular to Daryl, because of the message that they said. And I had asked if they wanted to say anything to Daryl, to Brenda, to Jay, and Teresa, and I kept repeating this over and over again. And at this particular one, I had just said, is there anything that you'd like to say to Daryl? And what I think is being said is the word, or the words, thank them. So it seemed as though the spirit wants to thank them, but we are in the janitor's room. I do hear the voice being female. So again, I'm going to play this for you guys. Let me find it first. Here we go. It's 9 seconds long. You're going to hear me ask if they'd like to say anything to Daryl, and you'll hear what I believe is the spirit saying thank them.
Do you want to say anything to Daryl?
It sounds like a faint female voice in the very background. Here we go.
Do you want to say anything to Daryl?
I'll play it one more time.
Do you want to say anything to Daryl?
You hear, to me, you hear the hard T in both those words. And I think as the word goes along, it faints out. So it's thank them. It's very, I didn't just say that right, but it's a very hard T in both words, thank them. Lucy, did you want to say anything?
No, I think it's just beautiful. Daryl, I mean, that one especially is for you.
Yeah, that was for you. And I liked that they did that because, again, it corroborates and validates the conversation that you and I had earlier during the tour, and how these spirits are attracted to the people who really respect them and really respect their place, that take care of their place, look out for them. And you certainly are, again, for lack of a better phrase, their number one fan. And so I don't think you have anything to worry about in this place, because I think they truly respect you, and they love what you all are doing, Jay and Brenda and Teresa, what you all are doing for that location, and everyone else that's affiliated with it, that they truly do thank you. So I'm really happy, and I'm really glad that I was able to actually capture that audio piece and give that to you guys as a gift.
Okay, our next one. We're still in the janitor's room. Okay, now this is, I believe it's before the incident with the flashlight and the music, and the flashlight had been initially turning on and off. You know, some of it was on command, some of it wasn't. I asked whoever was in the room, were they the ones doing that to the flashlight? The EVP response that we get is, yeah.
Okay. Oh, which one are you doing? Are you doing yeah or are you doing
I'm
yes?
sorry. I skipped one. Okay.
All right, so I'll play that one. I'll play that one.
Okay.
Yeah, just say that one again.
Yeah, this is the one where before the incident with the flashlight and the music, the flashlight's been turning on and off. And I asked whoever's in the room, are you the one doing that to the flashlight? The response that we get on the EVP is yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is very quick.
Are you doing that?
It's right at the end of when Luci says, are you doing that? As soon as she finishes, you hear, yeah. Here we go.
Are you doing that?
Play it one more time.
Are you doing that?
This is very quick. Very, very quick, but very short. Okay. I'll do this one let's see, is this the last one?
That's our last one.
Okay, so this is going to be our last EVP. Wow, I'm surprised we got through all of those already. Again, as I mentioned before, as I was reiterating over and over again, trying to get communication with the spirits as far as what they wanted to say to Daryl, to Jay, to Teresa and Brenda, and everybody, again, affiliated with Poasttown Elementary School. Again, I said this again, and I think I said, if I remember correctly, I think I said, is there anything that you want to say to Daryl? I just kept repeating this over and over again. And on this time, what we had gotten was a response that says yes. So, again, this is me asking if they want to say anything to Daryl, and the response is yes.
What's that voice?
Sorry, that's the wrong one. Here we go.
Do you want to say anything to Daryl?
Okay, it's a very breathy yes and a very deep, deep voice. Play it again.
Do you want to say anything to Daryl?
I'll play it one more time.
Do you want to say anything to Daryl?
Okay. I just, again, I just want to reiterate again, after all of this evidence, after what we posted in regards to the video that we caught, mind you, I also had DVR cameras set up in the place. I had them mostly done up on the second floor, and I went through, I think it was a total of, I think it was 18 hours of DVR video. It was nine hours on each camera. I had 2 DVR cameras set up, and I went through all of that. Nothing in particular that stood out happened. There are a couple of things that I sort of have a question mark, but I'm not offering up as evidence because I can't in my own right mind say that it is evidence of supernatural, so I'm not going to put it forward. But again, it's on a marker on my file that I'm going to hold on to. If I ever have time to, I can always go back into it. But I truly believe that Poasttown Elementary School is haunted. I truly believe that there are spirits there that do want to communicate, that communicate only to the right people or the people that they feel they want to communicate to. I can 100% or 150% say that there is no fraud, that there is nothing ludicrous going on in that place, and I want to put that rumor and those issues to bed and bury it, whatever it is, because we were in there on our own doing this investigation, and we know for sure that we were speaking to spirits.
You know what? I totally agree with you, Anthony. Everything that we experienced in this location was definitely something special to me. I just want to say out loud, I think that Daryl, Jay, and Teresa are probably some of the nicest and most honest people that I have ever come in contact with. And all of the drama and hassle and any accusations that have been made, in my mind, are totally unfounded. And I hope that this helps to put everything to rest, because as far as I'm concerned, there's definitely something happening in this school. And it is a pleasant and it is an amazing experience for every paranormal investigator that goes there.
Yeah, thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Jay and Teresa. We had a great time. Jay, you are a riot. I just want to say that. You made me laugh. I had such a great time. Daryl and Teresa, wonderful people. I truly have respect for all of you and for that place. And to Nell's point that she just made right now, Luci and Anthony would never fake anything. It's just not in our nature to do that, number one. Number two, we have nothing to gain. I mean, it's not as if I'm putting up this evidence and everything that I'm saying, Daryl's going to give us a cut of whatever money is made from this location. Hell no, that's not going to happen. I have nothing to gain by doing this. I only come out here, and Luci only comes out here to speak the truth, to bring out what we experience. Hey, if nothing happened in that place, we'd come out and we'd say nothing happened. We got nothing. There's no need for us to make up anything at all. I have all of the evidence on my recorder. I have the original forms. Nothing was cleaned up. I can tell you that right now, other than expanding the volume on this when I was able to record it and put it into the Blog Talk system. I didn't scrub anything. I don't have any of those things. So if anybody wants to see the true, real form, the true original audio, I will be happy to send it to you. I will be happy to post it. It's very hard to hear it, and that's why I boost the volume only so that you can hear it. But that is the only thing that I have done to this, and I don't think Luci has done anything on her end.
No. Everything that you've heard tonight is exactly what we got off of our recorders. We have nothing, like Anthony said, we have nothing to gain from faking any kind of evidence. That's not in our nature. It's not what we do, and we'll never do anything like that. So what you heard tonight was definitely the sounds and voices of this school. And again, from Anthony and me, from the bottom of our hearts, I want to thank Daryl, Jay, and Teresa for welcoming us into their home and letting us experience everything there is in this school. It was a wonderful experience, and I'm so very happy that we went there.
Awesome. I just want to, I'm actually doing this right off the fly right now. I just want to get the website. If anybody wants to check out the school, experience what Luci and I have experienced, and go to a place that you haven't seen on the shows out there on Sci-Fi or Travel Channel or any of those shows that are out there that hasn't been exposed like this, get in there now. Get in there before it blows up, because who knows what can happen to that place. Go in there and book your next investigation. So go to Poasttown School, that's POASTTOWN school.com, and you can book your next investigation there. You can contact Daryl, and you can check it out yourselves and come back with whatever you receive out there. And if there's any questions that anybody has about what we presented tonight, we are open. We are transparent. You guys can email us at paranormalreviewradio@yahoo.com. You can go on our Facebook page and message us there if you have any questions. If you want to debate anything, I'm open to it. I really don't care, because I have nothing to hide. So with that, great investigation, great place. Again, Daryl, Brenda, Jay, Teresa, I applaud you guys. Great place to go to, and I highly recommend it for everybody out there.
No, thank you so much. Thank you. And like Anthony said, if you guys have any questions about what you heard, tell us, ask us. We'll be very happy to share with you anything that we have.
You just like repeating everything I say, don't you?
I do. I do.
All right. We got about 20 minutes left. Do you want to get into the Paranormal Review Radio Fan of the Week?
Yes. Okay. This week, the Paranormal Radio Review Fan of the Week is David Ghostcams. Now, you can join David in his pre-1900 Victorian house. You can view the cams. You can read and experience the stories, photos, and EVPs and videos that are captured on it. And you know what? David likes Paranormal Review Radio. So, everybody, please go check out David's site, which is DDDAVIDS ghostcams.org. That's David's Ghost Cams, but with 2 D's ahead of it, .org. Thank you so much, David, for being a fan. Thank you for liking us, and congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. And don't forget, if you want to be a Paranormal Review Radio Fan of the Week, just like us on Facebook at Paranormal Review Radio, or you can actually, if you want to, email us at paranormalreview@yahoo.com.
Okay. You got anything else you want to add?
I think we've said it all. If anybody wants to, again, this recording, this show tonight is going to be archived, so you can go back and listen to the recordings again, listen to the stories again, and again, you can make up your own opinions or make your comments as you wish.
Okay. Well, you know what? No matter what you hear about a location, no matter how much disagreement there is about what's happening in a place, you really have to examine all the facts there is about that place. Now, when it came to Poasttown, we wanted to see for ourselves what the location was like. Without listening to anyone else's opinions of the place, we went in with open minds, and this school did not disappoint us. We found a wonderfully active place that provided us with enough evidence to convince us that Poasttown is for real. But you know what? We want to tell you, don't listen to us. We want you to make your own decision. Go and investigate Poasttown for yourself. We want, again, to thank Daryl Wisman, Jay and Teresa Lynch, for making us feel so welcome and for all of the wonderful information that they gave us about the school. They are caring and honest people, and we wish them nothing but the best. We also want to thank the spirits that remain at Poasttown. No matter why they stay there, thank you so much for communicating with us. It was an amazing investigation. So, we want to keep the love and good feelings going on. And our show next week is one that is definitely going to be full of love and light. We have been wanting to have this guest on, but we haven't. So, shame on us. We love it when he calls us and shares the brilliance of his being. Who is it? None other than author, professor, and paranormal investigator Noah Tysick. He will be joining us next week to talk about New Orleans voodoo and other things paranormal and spiritual. Noah is the author of several books, including Exorcising and Visitations. He will be here next Friday night, so please join us for an enlightening evening of conversation with him. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us every single week. We truly adore you. Anthony, thank you for another wonderful show and investigation. You truly are my partner in the paranormal. So, dear Parapeeps, until next week, be excellent to each other and have a paranormal week. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Paranormal Review Radio.